We will be keeping tabs on this because freaking Waterworld? Seriously? Wow, okay. Okay, hello nerds. It's gonna be a quick one. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up, do the interaction thing. Let's have conversations about all this stuff down in the comments section or on the social medias. Find me there. We'll get into that with housekeeping. Let's hit the intro. Hello nerds. Going to be a quick one. Playing beat the battery, playing gotta go to work. There is a reason for that. If you were watching the full version of the show or listening to the full version of the show, you will catch it. If you are not, then you don't know that I have Halo Infinite beta number 1 access. We will get into that in the gaming section. So again, join me on the social medias, join me on the YouTubes and all the stuff. Generally Nerdy is the name. Just search it, look for the Nerdy Ninja. Housekeeping, that is our housekeeping. I potentially got some good news, but I can't really give that away just yet until contracts are signed. But yeah, all of that. Thank you very much for joining me once again. No shout outs for the housekeeping section this episode either. We're just jumping right into the news. Music news is really short. We just have one follow-up and it has to do with ZZ Top. After the passing of Dusty, actually, technically, this is news as well because it happened as I was uploading. It was announced anyway as I was uploading the last episode. So we did not get to talk about it in the last episode. And that is that Dusty Hill from ZZ Top has passed. It has just been a rough week for good music. So yeah, Dusty Hill's passing. Billy Gibbons has said in a tweet and in information given to Eddie Trunk from Trunk Nation on SiriusXM, or yeah, I believe it was Sirius, that the band will go on. They are currently on tour. They do have a replacement bass player already for Dusty. We're going to give a real quick moment of silence for Dusty Hill from ZZ Top because, man, what an epic musician to be lost. Let's get into gaming and tech. So we're gonna not even try and hide this one. Gaming and tech. Halo Infinite beta flight test number 1, as they're calling it, has been launched. It launched as of the 29th of July. That was yesterday as I'm filming this, 2 days ago. So here is the quick rundown, as quick as possible. I got the email at roughly 9:30, 9:45 last night. So as I was getting home from the day job, and then I tried to log on immediately and it was not happening. The Halo waypoint is where you have to log in through and get all the information on how to get it on your Xbox. And for whatever reason, I got the email, but Waypoint didn't know I got the email. So they were like, you don't have access to this. Then Waypoint caught up to things. I got everything installed on the Xbox, which was a big to-do in and of itself because you have to get the Insider app and then you have to wait for clearance for Halo. And then once finally the Halo jumps up on your Insider app screen, then you have to install Halo. Well, it finally installed and then it said it needed an update, which it couldn't download. For hours, I was trying to play Halo until like 3 o'clock this morning. Did not happen. Had to call it a night. Went to bed, got up early, tried to log on. It logged on and updated, and now it says I don't have access. That's not entirely true. I did get to sign on for a couple hours. It said I was not authorized to play Halo Infinite, but then it let me on. I played a game. I did some of the training. Went to go connect for another matchmaking game, and it said I wasn't connected to the server, so I closed the game. opened it back up, and now once again I am apparently not authorized to play Halo Infinite. So as those bugs get worked out, Halo is broken right now, and hopefully 343 is A, getting it fixed, and B, going to extend by at least a day or two for those of us that are having, because there is a large community of people who are having issues with Halo Infinite right now, and honestly are part of the beta but cannot log on to play the beta. So that really sucks. It is what it is. We're moving on because we're playing Beat the Clock. We next have another follow-up for the Marvel Avengers game. The DLC for the Wakanda Forever expansion has been announced. August 17th is when it is going to be released. So we have a release date. That is all we have on that. And then we have a new trailer for a game that just kind of blows my mind. This game series is really crazy. No More Heroes 3 on the Nintendo Switch. August 27th is the release date. Go watch the trailer. This series, I've never been able to make heads or tails of this series, but it looks incredible. So go check that out. That is all we have for gaming and tech. In comic books, we have no follow-ups, but we do have a really awesome piece from Scott Snyder, who is one of my favorite, most recent Batman authors, I guess. Not favorite of all time, but favorite of the last decade or so. Scott Snyder is teaming up with ComiXology and Dark Horse Comics to release some artist and author-owned, creator-owned, I guess is the way to put that, line of books. It is going to be in association with Rafael Albuquerque, Greg Capullo, who is also a great Batman author, Francesco Francavilla, Jamal Igle, Jock, Tula Lotay, Francis Manapul, and Dan Panosian. I apologize for butchering those names, but all of those writers and artists are going to have some sort of association with this. Scott Snyder is going to be part of all of those books as well, but it is going to be creator-owned. It's going to come out first digitally on ComiXology, so if you have Amazon Prime, I believe that gets you access to ComiXology. I'll have to double-check that. But then shortly after it's on ComiXology, it's going, and it's undisclosed as to what the time frame is, but it will be coming out on Dark Horse right after ComiXology in a physical form. So you can test it out again if you have your ComiXology, see which ones are worth buying, and then absolutely buy those physical copies of the books. And then our next piece and our final piece for comic books is something we don't generally do, but it's worth talking about. In the most recent Action Comics, the Action Comics Annual #1, Superman, it's not Superman directly, but it is the Phantom Zone has been reimagined again. This time it is now a part of the consciousness of the god Aethyr, who's an ancient god, and it's very Cthulhu-y, very H.P. Lovecraft. The reason we're bringing this up is because I want to hand this off to you guys. What, nerds, do you think about this kind of sort of change? It's kind of been like this before. It wasn't like this for a long time, and now it's back to something akin to this again. It's really interesting. I really dig the artwork in this book as well. So let's have that conversation either down in the comments or once again over on the social medias. But that is our comic books and books section. TV streaming, we're gonna, again, it's quick. I gotta get to work, man. I gotta get to my Halo tonight. After I edit this and get it uploading, I'm jumping headfirst into Halo Infinite. So TV streaming, we have follow-ups and corrections, just follow-ups. We have Hawkeye. The announcement for the release date for the Hawkeye series is now November 24th. And then we have an update on the Snowpiercer series on TNT. Snowpiercer just got announced for a 4th season, which is significant because this is the earliest they have gone up for a season renewal ever in the history of the show, because they literally just finished filming season 3. Season 3 hasn't even started airing yet, and they are now going into season 4, or they've been approved rather for season 4. So that's pretty significant. Congratulations to the Snowpiercer team. Let's get into the news. We have this one actually should have gone into the last episode, but for whatever reason I passed over. I didn't even share it on the social because I don't know why. But there's a Better Call Saul update. We got Bob Odenkirk did have an issue on set. He collapsed. They took him to the ER. It was said that he had the specific term they used was a heart-related incident. Everybody who has talked to Bob has said he's in good health. He is recovering. He is still in the hospital, though, and he was in critical condition for a good, almost a full day, I believe. So, yeah. Pretty big thing there. Hopefully Bob is okay, because that is he's one of my favorite comedic actors, kind of an unsung hero of comedy recently, and also that new Nobody movie is definitely worth a watch. So yeah, thoughts and prayers for whatever that's worth out to Bob Odenkirk. Next, we're talking about another different kind of streaming. This is another podcast. This is a proper podcast, though, not a book on Audible, but a podcast called Batman Unburied has been announced. This one, again, the announcement for the show could have gone into the last episode, but now we have the casting of two of the main characters. So we have Winston Duke cast as the voice of Batman / Bruce Wayne. We also have Jason Isaacs cast for Alfred. So I'm going to touch on the social political issue here. Winston Duke is a black actor, and who freaking cares? They're not drawing Batman any differently, because it's not a visual medium, it's an audio, and who cares whose voice it is, as long as they do the differentiation between Bruce and Batman well. That is the only thing that matters in audio. Visual is a whole other story, we're not going to touch on that, but I think anybody who's making a big deal about Winston Duke is just being silly and clickbaity, and we're moving on. Next, and finally, for TV streaming, we're talking about Waterworld. That's right, Waterworld is getting a series. This one almost went into the rumor section because of the original source, but I have been able to verify it from Collider, and Deadline is reporting on it now, though Deadline hasn't confirmed it with the studio. They have confirmed it with production staff and the director. So the producer is John Davis, and Dan Trachtenberg, who is a big name, is directing the series. So that's pretty significant. It sounds like they are still in search of distribution, so it's not clear as to where this is going to come out, if it's going to be HBO Max, if it's going to be on any sort of terrestrial television, if it's going to be Netflix, probably not Disney Plus, because I'm sure they don't own the rights. But yeah, very interesting. We will be keeping tabs on this, because freaking Waterworld, seriously? Wow, okay, but that is all we have for TV streaming. Movies is our largest section, so I'm going to try and be breezy through here too. Follow-ups, we have Black Panther 2. There is a leak, and this is a legit leak because it is pictures from the set. We do know, I'm not going to give away the leak necessarily, but we do now know how they're going to pay homage to Chadwick Boseman and T'Challa specifically. It's pretty touching. It's really cool. I really dig it. If you have the time, there is a link down in the show notes. You can go check it out. Or there's, I'm sure, a better place to go find it as well if you look hard enough. But yeah, pretty freaking cool leak, if I do say so myself. Our next piece has to do with another leak. This one it's also a visual leak, so it's a legitimate leak. So it's not a rumor, but this comes from the Injustice animated movie that is coming to us very shortly. The couple minutes of footage have leaked, quote unquote. I'm going to presume that this was not an accident, though that's what they're selling it as. This little bit of information does let us know that it is going to be the storyline from the first game, so that is promising, though also to be expected as we get closer in things. We've already gone over the casting and all that jazz. So if anything major besides this comes out between now and the first official trailer, we will talk about it, but anticipate the official trailer being the next time we hear about Injustice. Now we're into the news, because we have no proper trailers, but we do have Transformers, the original 1986 animated movie, will be in theaters this September 26th and 28th. So I think that might be a typo in the press release, because it says 26th and 28th. I think they meant to say 26th through the 28th. So if I can figure out if it's a typo or if it's it's legit just 2 days that are separated by a day, I will definitely let you know. But that is pretty significant. That's pretty cool. I'm digging it. Hopefully, I couldn't find out if it was a Fathom Events or if it was some other distribution company that was doing it, but either way, pretty awesome. Moving on. Next, we're talking about Invincible. This one's pretty interesting because we're talking about it in movies and not in series, TV streaming. Invincible is reportedly getting, and it is in early stages of development, a live action movie. The source for this is pretty big because it's Robert Kirkman himself said it at Comic-Con at home, said that there is going to be a live action Invincible, and also said that the live action Invincible is going to be separate even further from the animated series. So that puts it that much farther from the comic book. So very interesting to see what's going to happen here. If it's going to not be an origin, since we got that in the animated series, maybe it's going to pick up years into Invincible being Invincible. Who knows? We will definitely be keeping tabs on this one because, man, if you haven't watched that Amazon Prime series, you really should. Next, we're talking about Lucasfilm. This one totally should have went in. We talked about this on the social media, but we're going to talk about it on the show proper because it's pretty freaking awesome. Shamook, who is a YouTube deepfake artist, has been hired by Lucasfilm to be part of the Star Wars digital team because he did such a better job by himself than the team at ILM that they were like, hey, bro, you want to make money doing this and not just YouTube money, but legit money? Why don't you come play with us? So that's pretty freaking huge. So big congratulations to Shamook. If you haven't seen it already, you can follow the link down in the description to see the deepfake that he did of Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian. It's 10 times better. Anyway, our final piece of news, and you knew it was coming because it's all over the actual news as well as the pop culture news, and that is Scarlett Johansson suing Disney because of Black Widow. Some new things have come to light as I was doing the research for this piece that have kind of changed my stance on this, because when I initially heard it, much like everybody else, when I initially heard it, I was like, well, more power to her, because if it sounds like they legitimately breached her contract, because the way it's being presented in most of the mainstream news outlets, the bigger news outlets, is that it was in her contract that there was going to be a theatrical only release at the beginning of the release window before it went to streaming or physical media. Well, as it turns out, that is not explicitly stated in her contract. The paperwork that was filed by her legal team says that it was an implied portion of the contract. So they don't have a legal leg to stand on. It sucks because I'm sure she's feeling the fact that it didn't make very much money in the theaters, just like Disney is. So this is kind of a needless lawsuit, but she's trying to prove some sort of point, probably. We will be keeping tabs on this if anything else major occurs, but as it stands right now, this is looking pretty bleak for Scarlett Johansson. That, though, is the end of the movie section. Rumor mill is kind of all over the place, but kind of just in 3 places. We'll get to it. So we have no confirmations or refutations. We are going very fast. I do apologize. But our first one has to do with Batgirl. This one flies in the face of things that were assumed based on other rumors that we've gotten in the past, or based on the most recent casting announcement, rather. So the rumors that we've got in the past about this are that they're looking for a new Commissioner Gordon. And then when they cast Leslie Grace as Batgirl, it was like, well, obviously they're looking for a new Commissioner Gordon because she can't be the daughter of J.K. Simmons because J.K. Simmons is a white guy. Well, she doesn't look super Hispanic, Latina, Latinx, whatever the hell word you want to use to describe her. She physically does not have that dark of skin, not that brown of skin, I suppose. So theoretically, she could have a mixed race parentage. And this rumor is feeding into that possibility, saying that J.K. Simmons is, in fact, in talks to return as Commissioner Gordon. Likelihood for this, rumor based on not a whole lot, but there are a lot of leakers who are talking about, quote unquote leakers, who are talking about this. So it seems to have a little bit more traction than I think it would. The implications here are really awesome to think about, because then that puts this Batgirl in the same universe as Ben Affleck's Batman and, you know, all of the Snyderverse stuff. So, as fun as it is to think about, I really don't think it's a legitimate rumor. So we're putting this one at about 20% legitimacy. Our next rumor has to do with Batman. Now, with all of the hype that those leaked pictures that we talked about on the social medias, all of the hype with those leaked pictures from the set that show Ben Affleck's stunt double riding a Batmobile, or a Batcycle rather, people are getting into a frenzy, and now there's rumors saying that, well, maybe HBO Max is going to give Ben Affleck a Batman series that's going to take place presumably before The Flash, for reasons we can talk about otherwise. And also Ben Affleck is on board to do such a thing, because he has made the announcement that after Flash, he's pretty much done with the character. So we've heard this rumor in 17 different iterations, and I feel like each time it changes iterations, it becomes less and less likely. So we're looking at about 30% likelihood on this one. There is a pretty solid, small possibility, but it is pretty small. So our next rumor is Kang the Conqueror. We have two rumors that have to do with Kang the Conqueror over in the MCU. First rumor being that Kang the Conqueror is going to go back in time to Egypt, much like he does in the comic books, to find Apocalypse, also known as En Sabah Nur. This would be awesome. This could actually happen sometime soon. The source on this, though, is really, really weak, so I cannot go over 50% just because of who the source is, and honestly, I don't know that there's enough planning time to make this work properly. So I'm going to drop it even lower than the 50. We're going about 40% likelihood that we're going to see this one. The second rumor is that Kang the Conqueror, throughout his travels in the multiverse, is going to bump into Cable. That's right, Josh Brolin Cable specifically. That would be a great way to introduce mutants into the proper MCU. Again, a lot of fun to think about. Not a whole lot of ground to walk on, though. So we're putting that one at 50%. Seems slightly more likely to happen in passing than the Apocalypse. Then we're talking real quick about Secret Wars. This rumor has kind of popped up a number of times. We haven't talked about it on the channel before, though. We're talking about it now. Russo brothers have been in discussions with Disney, Marvel. That's not really secret, but what they've been talking about has been very secret. And now the rumor is that they're going to be the ones in charge of Secret Wars. This seems pretty plausible because Secret Wars is a huge event. We're going to put this one at about 65% because, again, sources are not the greatest here. And then our final rumor is a gaming rumor. Abandoned is a code name for a game that is being produced by the production company, developer rather, Blue Box Studios, and it is said that this is going to be a Metal Gear 6 or an installment in the Metal Gear series. Sorry, sounded French there for a second. Of some sort. What that installment is, it's going to be a remake, it's going to be a brand new game. Depends on which source you're listening to. There's not a whole lot to back this up aside from quote unquote industry insiders. So I'm going to put this right at 50% because some of the sources are pretty decent. Some of them are not. So that is what it is. That's the end of the rumor mill though, nerds. That's also the end of the episode. What should I talk about in the next one? What did I miss in this one? Let's have that conversation down low or on the social medias. Again, at Generally Nerdy on basically everything. Thank you very much, nerds. Again, beating the clock. So we got to head out. Before I go, click or tap one of the things over there. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button and all the things. Thank you very much, nerds. Before I go, always remember, if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.